Hello friends, are charismatic leaders the same as strong leaders? Can one describe a strong leader as a strong man too? Is a charismatic leader a demagogue also? Let us try to find the answers. Demagogy and charisma are often confused, but they have different impacts or influences on society. Charisma is the quality that attracts people to a leader thanks to charm, confidence, and the ability to inspire. It is a positive force that fosters unity and motivation. Demagogy uses divisive rhetoric to manipulate emotions, prejudices, and fears for gaining support and power. One key difference between a demagogue and a charismatic leader lies in their motivation. Charismatic leaders motivate and unify people with a positive vision for society's benefit. They communicate with authenticity and honesty, even when delivering tough messages, and work towards inclusive communities that promote diversity and unity. A demagogue exploits divisions, stokes fears, and appeals to baser instincts for personal gain or specific agendas. Charismatic leaders and demagogues use different methods to gain public support. Charismatic leaders use reason and logic to persuade others through their vision, values, and communication skills. They promote a shared purpose and encourage critical thinking and open dialogue. Demagogues manipulate through rhetoric, employing inflammatory language and emotional appeals over reason. They distort facts and manipulate the truth to spread fears and prejudice to promote and protect their own interests. Charismatic leadership and demagogy have varying long term impacts. Charismatic leaders create a positive legacy that benefits society. Their influence can shape history constructively. Demagogy exploits immediate circumstances without addressing underlying issues, often causing permanent division and mistrust. Charismatic leadership unites and uplifts, while demagogy divides and undermines society. Charismatic leaders rise during upheavals, offering a vision for change. They can mobilize citizens and galvanize collective action through their captivating oratory and dynamic persona. Historical examples include Gandhiji's non-violent resistance movement in India and Nelson Mandela's fight against apartheid in South Africa. These leaders used charisma to inspire mass movements and promote social progress. They energized democratic processes and enhanced political engagement. They had the unique ability to connect with citizens, going beyond political differences. This promoted unity and solidarity, essential for overcoming challenges and promoting the common good. However, the allure of charisma has risks for democratic governance. Without constitutional checks, anyone can become a demagogue. Charismatic leaders may exhibit authoritarian tendencies, undermining democracy. Personality cults hinder dissent and undermine democratic norms. History cautions us against the dangers of totalitarian regimes and demagogues exploiting mass sentiments for personal gains. India is a fascinating case study in the interaction of charismatic leadership and democratic governance. Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, and Narendra Modi have left distinct imprints on India's political landscape. And there was one more leader, he is still alive, unsung and self effacing, whose leadership had an unprecedented transformative impact on India's economy and governance. I am talking about Dr. Manmohan Singh. Nehru embodied India's post independence idealism. His vision of a secular socialist democracy earned him widespread adoration as the architect of modern India. Nehru's unique charisma united a diverse nation and laid the foundations for thriving democratic institutions. Indira Gandhi was charismatic too. She was also the country's strongest ever prime minister, whose tenure revealed the negative aspects of charismatic leadership. Indira's authoritarian tendencies, including imposing emergency rule in 1975, revealed the danger of unchecked charisma. The erosion of democratic freedoms highlighted the risks of concentrated power under a charismatic leader. She backed off when the people of India asserted their democratic rights. Thankfully, she did. Narendra Modi showcases the rise of charismatic demagogy. His divisive and populist rhetoric helped him win power in 2014 and secure a landslide re-election in 2019. Signs of creeping authoritarianism and erosion of democratic values are evident. Power centralization, crackdowns on dissenters, and controversies over religious and minority rights reveal the complex relationship between charisma and democracy in modern India. Dr. Manmohan Singh is neither charismatic nor a demagogue, but it would be a humongous mistake to describe him as weak. Despite all the formidable challenges he faced as finance minister and later on as prime minister, he not only rejuvenated India's economy but also laid strong foundations for India to become a high-tech superpower. His welfare schemes for women, children, farmers, and the marginalized have become enduring templates for the successor governments to adopt. Charismatic leadership takes different forms in democratic nations, each with its own context and implications. Barack Obama's presidency exemplified the transformative power of charisma in the United States. Obama's election as the first African American president symbolized a triumph of democratic ideals. However, charisma's limitations became apparent during Donald Trump's presidency. Trump's brash style and divisive demagogy exposed the dangers of unchecked charisma in a democratic society. His presidency polarized and undermined trust in American democracy. In Europe, leaders such as Emmanuel Macron and Matteo Renzi have used charisma to challenge political establishments. Charismatic in the beginning, they face criticism for their governance style and lack of responsiveness to democratic accountability. Being a strong leader does not mean being charismatic, but there can be overlap. Strong leaders may have qualities like decisiveness, resilience, vision, and the ability to inspire confidence and respect. Charismatic leaders charm and mobilize people with their communication skills. Strong leadership and charismatic leadership can overlap but are distinct. Effective leadership requires strength, charisma, integrity, and adaptability in specific challenges and contexts. Strength and charisma are often sought after qualities in leaders, but they don't always go hand in hand. A leader can exhibit strength without being charismatic, while charisma alone doesn't guarantee effective leadership. It is important to recognize the nuances between these traits and how they manifest differently across various leadership styles. On one end of the spectrum, there are leaders who command respect and wield influence through their strength and decisiveness, even if they lack outward charisma. Angela Merkel, the former Chancellor of Germany, is a prime example. Throughout her tenure, Merkel was renowned for her pragmatism, crisis management skills, and political acumen in navigating complex issues like the European debt crisis and the refugee influx. Her reputation was built on competence, steadfast leadership, and an ability to forge consensus rather than charismatic oratory or a magnetic persona. Merkel's strength lay in her unwavering resolve and strategic decision making, qualities that enabled her to lead Europe's largest economy for over 50 years. In contrast, some leaders possess an undeniable charisma that captivates audiences and rallies supporters, but may fall short in terms of substantive leadership or governing effectiveness. Silvio Berlusconi, the former Italian Prime Minister, was known for his flamboyant personality, media savvy, and ability to connect with voters on a personal level. His charisma and larger than life persona contributed significantly to his political success. However, Berlusconi's leadership was marred by scandals, controversies, and a lack of significant policy achievements, suggesting that charisma alone is insufficient for strong, impactful leadership. Ideally, great leaders blend strength and charisma, harnessing both qualities to inspire followers and enact meaningful change. Nelson Mandela's leadership during South Africa's transition from apartheid to democracy is a shining example. Mandela's moral authority, unwavering commitment to justice, and ability to unite people from diverse backgrounds made him a charismatic and respected figure both at home and abroad. His strength lay in his principled stance against oppression, his willingness to sacrifice for his beliefs, and his vision for a democratic, inclusive South Africa. Combined with his charisma and oratory skills, Mandela's leadership embodied the powerful combination of strength and inspiration. It is also important to recognize that strength in leadership can manifest in different forms beyond traditional notions of decisiveness and assertiveness. Empathetic and inclusive leaders can build consensus and unite people through their ability to connect on a personal level and understand diverse perspectives. Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, is admired for her compassionate and emotionally intelligent leadership, particularly during crises like the Christchurch mosque shootings and the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite not being conventionally charismatic, Ardern excels at connecting with people, expressing genuine empathy, and uniting them during tough times, a form of strength that resonates deeply with many. Ultimately, while strength and charisma are both valuable assets for leaders, they are distinct qualities that can exist independently or in combination. Effective leadership often requires a nuanced blend of these traits, tailored to the specific challenges and contexts a leader faces. The most impactful leaders find ways to leverage their unique strengths, be it through charisma, decisiveness, empathy, or a combination thereof, to inspire and guide their followers toward positive change. So, what are the qualities of a strong leader? Is a strong leader synonymous with a strong man? A political leader's reputation of being strong is influenced by various factors, but strength does not always equate to authoritarianism. Strong leaders often cultivate an aura of strength through decisiveness, making tough choices despite criticism. They confront opponents and critics using forceful rhetoric and uncompromising positions. Projecting toughness with a defiant attitude, they take full credit for achievements and successes. A commanding persona exuding confidence, intimidation, and domineering body language helps control interactions. Nationalist rhetoric emphasizing national strength, sovereignty, and portraying the leader as the nation's embodiment further bolsters this image of strength. Through these tactics, leaders aim to appear powerful, resolute, and in charge. A strong leader is not automatically a strong man. True strength can also involve resilience, steadfastness in principles, protecting institutions, and upholding democratic norms. An authoritarian strongman focuses more on a brutish projection of power rather than democratic leadership. The danger is that some leaders may deliberately foster a cult of strength through populist rhetoric and strongman tactics to concentrate power and erode institutional checks and balances. In that case, perceived strength becomes conflated with authoritarianism. While a strong leader and an authoritarian strongman may share some outward qualities like a commanding presence and uncompromising rhetoric, there are fundamental differences in how their strength manifests and is exercised. Strong yet democratic leaders derive their authority through legitimate democratic processes and respect the institutional constraints of their office, whereas a strong man consolidates power through undemocratic means and disregards checks and balances. Examples of strong democratic leaders exercising strength within institutional confines include Winston Churchill leading Britain through World War II after being elected, or Chancellor Angela Merkel decisively steering Germany through economic crisis while adhering to term limits. Their perceived strength came from decisive leadership during challenges, but they still had to face voters and parliamentary oversight. In contrast, authoritarian strongmen like Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler began by subverting democracy. Stalin through a power struggle within the Communist Party, and Hitler by exploiting legal loopholes to marginalize opposition after election losses. Once in power, both systematically dismantled institutional constraints through tactics like intimidation of judiciary, arbitrary detention of critics, and personality cult-based propaganda. However, Vladimir Putin is the most interesting case study amongst the 21st century leaders. While Russia is not a democracy, the leadership style of President Vladimir Putin has garnered admiration from some quarters. He projects an aura of authority, decisiveness, and patriotism, appealing to Russian nationalist sentiments. His communication style is confident and commanding, earning loyalty from supporters. Putin's image is carefully crafted to portray him as physically robust and embodying idealized Russian masculinity. However, Putin's regime has been accused of eroding civil liberties, suppressing opposition, and centralizing power, leading many to characterize his rule as dictatorial rather than democratic. Allegations of electoral fraud, crackdowns on dissent, and restrictions on independent media have undermined democratic norms. A key aspect of Putin's leadership is the cultivation of a cult of personality, where his image as a strong nationalist leader is promoted through state controlled media, bolstering his authority and charismatic appeal among supporters. Internationally, perceptions of Putin's leadership are divided, with some admiring his assertiveness in defending Russian interests, while others criticize his authoritarian tendencies, human rights abuses, and aggressive foreign policy actions. Putin's tenure as Russia's president is a complex phenomenon, combining charisma, authoritarianism, pragmatism, and a carefully constructed cult of personality. While some are drawn to his projection of strength, it is important to recognize the potential dangers of authoritarian tendencies and the erosion of democratic norms. The desirability of charismatic leadership in democracies is complex. There is a need for balancing inspiration with accountability. Charisma can unite and motivate citizens, driving positive change. However, unchecked charismatic influence risks authoritarianism and erosion of freedoms. Charisma's dual nature is a well known fact. It energizes democracy while potentially undermining pluralism. Its desirability hinges on aligning with democratic values and inclusive governance. Strong institutions and vigilant citizens are crucial counterweights. Forceful democratic leaders derive authority from popular legitimacy and institutional constraints. But unfettered charisma creates autocrats who discard accountability for personal power. Striking this balance preserves democracy amid charismatic politics.